They tell you that, switch off your fridge and, your lights, etc., so that you make your carbon imprint and all that ridiculous nonsense, which, I mean, it makes me even sad that people believe these absolute obnoxious lies, It doesn't make any difference at all. The greatest offenders of climate change is the car industry and the aviation industry. The car and aviation industry must be regulated. Here is a very practical step to stop climate change. The huge amounts of car pollution and airplane pollution already, as you know, the American industry is based on car manufacturing. Therefore, please note that Al Gore, the Vice President of America, who is one of the saints of the climate green lobby, he never touches on the problem in his film of Inconvenient Truth. Car industry is taboo. Everybody is frightened to even mention it remotely. As for aviation industry, Britain, as you know from the recent debates, the British government, one of its plans is to be the #1 carrier of tourism and passengers all over the world, through British airports. In other words, Britain has the plan of not only increasing the traffic, I mean, every year, even now, 400 million people are traveling through airplanes, etc. Now, these are the car industry and aviation industry are the great taboos which need to be regulated, which must be regulated. And here, very practical proposition. You don't need a genius, you don't need, a scientist with his computer modeling in the pay of the American bullshitters. So here it is, the only way you can stop the development of the car industry is by the old British socialist tradition of nationalized industries, renationalized transport. Transport was privatized as a milking cow for ripping off people. I mean, I don't know if you live in this country, you will know. You could go for £6 return to Edinburgh. Now it is £150. It has nothing to do with workers being paid more or with better trains, better services. All lies and damned lies, as the Israeli used to say. Complete lying to the citizenry. The industries were privatized only and only for money generation, for capitalism, for ripping off the citizenry. Britain and America are skinning alive their citizenry, and daily. And we, I don't know what, Shakespeare would say, what are we made of that we can suffer so much, suffering, torture, everything, they are killing us, not only killing us financially, but of course now killing us through the climate change. Where I get very, very uncomfortable, I always say to my beautiful wife, I say, what is the end game? These idiots, take all the upper classes, Camerons up to Her Majesty the Queen. What do they think? How do they think they are going to survive all this filth? If the Queen needs citizens to rule over. If all the citizens are dead, and she's in Balmoral, in her fantastic, and it's very interesting. Balmoral is, through computer modeling, is discovered that if, due to climate change, London sinks, Balmoral will be one of the few places that will be saved. So, okay, Queen is, saved, all the aristocrats, they need their workers, they need their, they need their porters, and they need their, gardeners. Who's going to do it? Prince Charles is, I suppose, going to do the gardening. So, what I'm saying is, I cannot understand the sheer stupidity. Because we are so proud of human achievement, we occasionally forget that people are also extremely stupid. And one should probably think and find out more about mankind's stupidities, because that is a cause of what we are going through. So therefore, here is a very practical solution. You can reduce car use by developing public transport. You develop public transport not to make money for the companies, not to rip off and skin alive your citizens. You develop public transport with genuine, decent humanity to decently help the citizenry to go around without needing cars. You know, do you remember, you know, some of you probably, I mean, everybody is too young nowadays, but do you remember the Chinese, I mean, in Beijing, they all had these wonderful bicycles, you know, and they were using all bicycles, you know. And instead of we following their example, because of their own brand of capitalism, bicycles are forgotten, they all have their cars, and pollution of the cities are intolerable. The Chinese are choking themselves to death in Shanghai and so on, because the air is totally